This is the Real Footy podcast. Thanks for joining us to tip round 15. My name's Andrew Wu, and I'm joined as usual today by Peter Ryan, who the accidental leader.
What do you mean accidental? I was going to come in with a victory lap. I had arms outstretched a la Kevin Bartlett 1980 grand final.
How'd you get in front? What dark arts did you pull?
I was desperately watching Hawthorn Adelaide, cursing Isaac Rankin for putting them back in front, and then celebrating Jai Newcomb's third kick for the half, which, won them the game. They were never going to be beaten in Tasmania. They don't lose in Launceston. I told you that last week, and was like,
they should have
right.
lost. They should have lost.
No, exactly.
They should have been a long way behind. But your man, Riley Thilthorpe let me down. First quarter, shot at goal, 15 metres in front.
You didn't let me down. You actually helped me out.
No,
it's hard to win down in Launceston against Hawthorn, and they proved it once again. They don't have to play that well, but they're just, they're just a better side than the opposition. It's cold, dewy, slippery.
That was an agonising game to watch.
It was an agonising
as a person who tipped Adelaide.
I know, but it put me back equal with Michael Gleeson, who is he's put up a nice challenge, but I'd imagine he'll fade away from here on. No, it's pretty tough actually.
Callum Jasper's coming hard. Up to 82. He's in third. Jake Knoll and Mark McGowan's made a big move up to 80. Jimmy Bartell and Caro are next on 79. I had a shocker last week. I'm really dirty actually, down to 78. Those Melbourne let me down. I shouldn't have tipped them.
Yep.
Adelaide, that's one that got away.
It's become like the leaderboard in the US Open final round of the golf, where it just squeezed up and everyone was almost equal. It's like that at the moment. Yeah, 83 is not really something to write home about as a leader, I don't think. I think there's a lot of competition sitting on 86, 87,
actually,
88.
the tipping comp that I'm in with a few mates, the leader is on, I think, 90-something.
Yeah.
12 off the pace there. And she's in grade 9, I think, the leader, daughter of one of my mates.
Right.
And his 8-year-old son is second.
Yeah, well, that's embarrassing for us.
We're getting rings run around us. Who's behind me? Sam McClure is also, I'm sharing 78 with a few. This is a real worry.
John Perrick,
he's made his way up there.
And as we know, Emma Carney and Libby Birch, because they have to...
Well, they handicap themselves tipping North Melbourne, though I think they're in with a show this week. And Matthew Stokes, 76. Bob Murphy, described as the eclectic one. He loves tipping an upset.
He does, doesn't he? It's great.
He tips with soul.
And he's done that in the first game too, hasn't he? He's tipped Essendon.
He's tipped Essendon. That's extraordinary. Against his old club as well, Fremantle.
Maybe there's something there.
Oh, what's that about, Bob? Fremantle Essendon, first game of the round, Thursday night footy. I reckon when the AFL fixtured this about 6 or 7 weeks ago, they were probably thinking, Essendon, they're up, going to be in the 8, they're a chance, and we'll put a big Melbourne club on the Thursday night. But this is a pretty ordinary way to start the round in terms of a contest, because I don't think anyone would be tipping Essendon other than Bob Murphy.
No, it's the Bob Murphy, why did I tip Dockers game. Fremantle proved, even though North Melbourne absolutely made them earn it, they were actually lucky to win in the finish. North Melbourne were a better team overall.
Were they?
Apart from about a 15-minute patch in the second quarter.
Didn't Freo kick like 3 goals in a minute or something?
Yeah, in a really short space of time, and then obviously Luke Jackson kicked the sealer right at the end. Their midfield, at home, they're just a better side. They've got Luke Jackson and Sean Darcy's working okay. I'm not sure about the 2 ruck combination.
Well, Essendon got a debutant in the ruck this week, Vigo Vicentini, brother of Dante.
Right, and Vicentini's actually been playing quite well in the VFL. I know that he certainly was leading into the mid-season draft because they were weighing up whether they needed to add another ruckman onto the list or whether he was ready to take up.
Todd Goldstein was actually all right last week.
Yeah.
He got a lot of the ball.
How much respect have you got for the way he's gone about it, so to speak?
Well, he just keeps fronting up. And I mean, Tom de Koning probably got in the week before, but I didn't think he was disgraced in that contest either. But he's just a class player, Todd Goldstein.
He's workhorse,
he's still fit,
absolutely.
tries hard.
But given they've only got Caddy, Kako, really to write home about their back line is bereft with Langford. Are they expecting anyone back this week?
Not this week. They're going to get a few a few next week. So.
Sorry, I meant Laverde when I said Langford. He's the only one that's got any real experience. Archie Roberts is a good player, but, geez, it makes it hard.
Zach Merritt's going through a little bit of a funk at the moment. He's not playing terribly, but he's not having the same impact as he did earlier in the season. Freo did have minus 12 inside 50s last week against North, so that backs up your comment about them not playing that well. And they've also, under Longmuir, they're 3-2 against Essendon, so Essendon tend to go okay against them, but not this week. I'm tipping Freo. No, 31 points.
Yeah, I'm tipping Freo by 19, only because I don't want to be too disrespectful to Essendon.
31 points is okay. That's a reasonable margin.
No, I'm not saying 31's a problem, but, it could get out to 10 goals pretty quickly.
Well, I mean, last week it got out late.
Yeah.
It was sort of respectable up until about halfway in the third quarter.
Absolutely.
Okay, Freo for the both of us.
Yep.
Friday night footy, this is clearly the game of the round. Geelong against the reigning premiers Brisbane, GMHBA Stadium. Cats don't lose too often there, and the Lions suddenly, they've lost, the last 2 from bad kicking? Though I think last week I reckon they were unlucky the week before when they really kicked themselves out. Last week I think their pressure on the Giants let them down.
Yeah, it was a bit champagne footy, wasn't it?
28 tackles only. Yeah. You can't win a game with 28 tackles. Actually, dig further into that. Will Ashcroft he didn't lay a tackle, and he's kind of that inside mid type player, and he hasn't laid a tackle in 2 of his last 4 games. His brother Levi, no tackles in the last 3 matches.
Yeah, that's below par. That's not good enough. That's
a concern. There's an attitude that needs to change there.
Which I think it will.
Jack Payne's a massive out, isn't he?
He's a massive out. Look, Darcy Gardner probably goes back, doesn't he? Duday is still a week away from what I understand, at least. He's a massive out given they play against Jeremy Cameron and Patrick Dangerfield inside 50. I'm not sure whether Payne would have taken either of those, and Shannon Neal, who's been one of the absolute standouts of the Cats.
Well, the issue with Payne, he's not the star, but he's a good, solid defender. Yeah, allows Andrews to play more attacking role. You think Darcy Gardner will go back? He did the job in the final series 2 years ago, so he's an able replacement for Payne.
No, he's a good depth player, and he's been playing senior footy. So
he's 160 odd games, so he knows what he's doing. The Cats, this gives you an idea of how well the Cats are travelling. Their emergencies last week: Jed Buse, Jack Bowes, and Ollie Henry.
Yeah. Was Bowes an emergency? Because I would have thought he'd be straight back in.
Well, they were last week.
Yeah, that's a funny one. I don't reckon Bowes was ready to play. Did he play VFL? I doubt he would have.
I think it was carryover emergency, maybe.
But
still, those 3 players would be playing senior footy.
It's funny,
at
isn't
most
it?
Clubs.
Because Geelong, everyone's tipped Geelong, but 7 of the tipsters have tipped them to win by less than 7 points or less, which makes me think that this is 50-50, and this is a risk worth taking.
Well, are you tipping for Lions?
No, I'm tipping Geelong, but I'm saying...
Well, come on, you can't say that.
Yes, I can. I'm sitting on...
It's a risk worth taking, but you're not going to take the risk.
Do you think I need to take the risk?
Well, as you said...
I'm following the woo philosophy.
Who's Glee's tipped this week?
Well, I just tipped whoever he tipped.
Oh,
no, I'm joking.
That's
I'm only joking. He's tipped Geelong, obviously. Brisbane play well at Geelong.
Remember that
in
game?
Recent
years.
It
was a game a few years back.
Yeah, when Blitzars got tackled in the goal square. I know, that was a joke. Yeah, I know. Jake still goes berserk about that. And so do I. That was outrageous.
It is hard to tip against Geelong, though. They look really good at the moment. They're so ruthless when they get the ball.
Yeah, and their running power is incredible. Bailey Smith and Max Holmes. And this is what probably not Brisbane's strong point. Brisbane tends to cut you to pieces with their ball use. Not necessarily their running power. So I think that Geelong at home, Holmes, Smith, Atkins doing the job in the middle. They're actually got a pretty much full-strength side.
Apart from Sam Baconi.
Yeah, apart from Sam Baconi.
Miss a little bit of footy.
Yeah.
But Geelong, their defensive system's one of the best in the competition. I think Brad Scott was saying last week how they almost lure you into taking kicks out of the back line,
Yeah.
and as soon as probably in the split second as you look up and then you look down to kick the ball, the gap's closed.
Yeah, Matthew Nix was talking about it last night.
Mm.
Yeah, you're right. Geelong.
I'm tipping Geelong.
What
2
do you
goals.
think of the Dash Brothers? Do you think that's a good name for them?
The Dash Brothers?
Yeah. That's what they've been labelled, Holmes and Smith. You know how much I love those sorts of things.
Nah, not for me. Bash Brothers maybe, because there's a bit of alliteration going on. Dash Brothers.
Well, the Bash Brothers were the McCullum and what's his name from Brisbane? Chris Lynn.
Yeah, that's not a huge fan of that.
Okay, I didn't want you to agonise. So. Just a yes or no would be okay.
Max Bailey, wasn't it? Former Hawthorn ruckman. Geelong.
Yep, Geelong for me. Just take the risk if you need to find a tip.
Saturday afternoon footy, Carlton against North Melbourne, MCG. This game might be worth taking a risk.
Yeah, I weighed this one up too. And again, we've all gone for Carlton, but again, there's not a lot of confidence. North Melbourne are actually not necessarily better form, but you can see that they're building to something, and there's one of those games ahead of them where it clicks and they get confidence.
If you're North Melbourne, anything short of either victory or a real narrow loss this week, you'd be thinking North Melbourne have let themselves down. Because, I mean, this is a very winnable game for them. If Charlie Comben plays their full strength, they've been in good form recently. Good form in terms of they've been close to the mark.
Yep.
They're
terrible against West Coast, but they won.
They did what they had to do to win. They'd be stung by the last time against Carlton from Good Friday. That was embarrassing. Yeah. And I think if there's any pride among the players there, they'd want to try and atone for that somewhat. So if they produced another one of those performances, then I think the knives will be out for North Melbourne. But, I mean, Carlton, they're out. Question mark over Charlie Curnow.
Yep.
No Harry Mackay, Sam Walsh. They're two pretty big outs.
Curnow normally kills North Melbourne.
Yeah, both Curnow and Mackay generally kick goals against them. I think they did early in this year as well.
Curnow kicked 4. I'm not sure Mackay was playing at that stage, but
so that's another 6 or 7 goals they've got to find, Carlton, and Carlton have had struggles scoring this year. Their average winning margin against North, though, under Michael Voss is 46 points. So that kind of history would
the only reason I've tipped Carlton, to be honest, is they beat him by 80 points on Good Friday, something ridiculous. I don't like tipping now just on the basis of outs, because teams tend to cover them, even though these guys are big outs, Mackay and Walsh. And North Melbourne haven't shown an ability to win yet, so until they do, they've got a bit of a grey, question mark above them. And Carlton have won their last 2, so it's not like they're going, I know it's only Essendon West Coast, but there's no reason to go against them.
They were very good in the first quarter against West Coast, and then they kind of just dropped off.
Yeah, they're like a 1,200-metre horse that is better over 800. Aren't they?
Well,
they can't stay.
1,200-metre horse in a 2,400-metre race.
Yeah, well, that's true. They can't stay.
Because they get the first half right, but there was actually, I saw on Instagram today a post if first quarters was all that counted, then, and that was superimposed over an image of Steve Kernahan lifting the cup in 1995.
Exactly. That's the desperation you reach when you're a Carlton supporter.
I think Carlton there's very little confidence.
Yeah, on Carlton too.
We're online all the time. Just search Age Real Footy on Facebook or Twitter.
The next game, Saturday afternoon, Port Adelaide against Sydney, Adelaide Oval. This is a real 50-50 game.
Yep, Adelaide Oval. They're a better team, Port Adelaide, at home. It is a 50-50 game, although Sydney find it tough to win. Actually, they got slaughtered a couple of years ago, or was it last year?
It was last year.
Yeah.
Last year. It was the...
so they're going back to the scene of that crime.
Was it 100 points?
Yeah. And Port Adelaide know that. They can do that to teams. I was pretty impressed with the way they played. Rosie and Butters, outstanding footballers. Georgiou's got a bit of confidence. Miles Bergman's playing well. Sydney's did they have the week off last week? Yep.
They played Richmond.
They're getting better.
No, they had that was week before. Sorry.
Yeah, they're getting better.
2 weeks off.
Yeah, but Port Adelaide will be too good.
Yeah. So a few selection factors. I know you're not paying too much into it, but Aaliyah possibly question mark. Ollie Wines is out. Horn Francis is a real question mark.
Yeah,
over
I
his
saw
shoulder.
him. I saw him at training. He was definitely favouring his shoulder.
Someone described his shoulder as Blake Acres' shoulder in the last quarter of the game.
Yeah, that's fair.
Joel Amati and Matt Roberts will come back in for the Swans, and there's some talk that Tom Papley and Errol Goulden will play their first games in a long, long time. And if they do, I would tip the Swans. But I think I've tipped Port Adelaide. Well, I am tipping Port Adelaide only because Sydney generally struggle against Port.
What, you reckon Papley and Goulden will just walk back in and be the difference between them winning or losing?
Yeah, I think they're that good, yeah.
Well, they are at their best, but do you reckon first up from a spell?
First up's a lot harder than third up because they're fresh and don't have to play with the bruises of the week before.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
But
I still think Port Adelaide will win regardless of who pulls on a Sydney jumper.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm tipping Port, but I don't.
In fact, Port are my certainty for the week.
Wow.
Lock
That's incredible. What margin are you tipping by?
15 points. It's comfortable. 30 points up with about 3 minutes to go. Let the next couple through and
I think it might
get off the ground and head straight to the...
It might go the other way, closer than the last 2 minutes, and they get a couple of cheapies at the end.
Yeah.
I'm tipping Port by 2 points, but I was very tempted to tip the Swans in this one.
Nah, Port's back.
Are they? Oh, I don't know. Well, they beat Melbourne and Georgiades kicked 7.
Yeah.
That's not a sustainable way to win.
Well, it's sustainable enough.
Well, for one game, but it's not sustainable to say that they're
What,
back.
and we've spent the whole year saying that Curnow and Mackay are going to be the difference.
Well, clearly they haven't been sustainable, have they?
No, I think you're speaking through your hat. Port Adelaide.
I'm doing Port as well, but there's no confidence.
Fair
Saturday night footy, this game I am confident about. Collingwood against St Kilda. I'll say it top of the game. Collingwood's my lock. They'll win.
They'll have a better team this week, St Kilda, than the veterans they put out last week. I mean,
yeah, what's with
they
that?
can come up with all the reasons they want, but that team,
How can you pick?
why would you turn up and watch that?
How can you pick 10 29-year-olds and over
That was
when
just...
you're down in their position on the ladder?
Yeah.
And I don't understand.
They can
it.
have justification for it, but it doesn't pass the pub test. And they'll bring Alex Taru, which will be great to watch him play. They'll also bring back Darcy Wilson. I can accept that explanation that he was both feeling a bit tired, and sometimes you do need back to the VFL.
Garcia and Boxall.
Yep, chances
They'll
to come
probably
back
come in as well.
I think they'll go okay, St Kilda against Collingwood, but I think Collingwood should win.
Yeah, Collingwood won't drop this game. They're my lock, tipping them by 29 points.
Fair enough.
And St Kilda. Well, I mean, if Ross Lyon picks the kids, at least that's something for the Saints fans to get into. They might not leave with a result that they want, but at least they can say, well, this kid did this kid did that.
Yeah.
This kid did something.
Yeah, I know. No, I agree. Don't you? We'll go and see this Taru, see what he's like.
Oh, exactly. It's excitement for the fans. They want to cling on to a bit of hope. If they're not going to get the result, they want to be able to see something.
Yep.
Okay, Collingwood
Sometimes
for both of
they
us.
forget that. Collingwood, yep.
Sunday afternoon. Oh, this is my kind of game. The Expansion Cup, Greater Western Sydney against Gold Coast, NG Stadium.
This is your type of game.
This will be a very good game.
No, it'll be a great game, but won't exactly get everyone rushing in and off the streets, will it? In Victoria.
Well,
you're not saying I'm rushing back to watch the Giants play Gold Coast, surely?
Well, it depends what you're rushing back from. I mean,
Well,
what time's this game? Is this a
wanna be-
1:10 game or?
Yeah. I'm tipping Gold Coast to win. NG Stadium is the only doubt I have, but Giants were thrashed by Fremantle. I think Gold Coast have better form going into this game, even though they lost to Geelong. They copped the
Lost their
burst from
last
Dimmer.
two. Dimmer was very disappointed after the game.
Yeah, and I reckon they'll get a response. The bye came at just the right time, probably a week early, and the Giants having bounced back, great win, all that sort of stuff. They've been too inconsistent for me.
They're so hard to predict, aren't they?
Yep.
The Giants, they win the games that you don't expect them to win. Like they've beaten Brisbane in Brisbane, Geelong in Geelong, and then they lose to Port in Canberra, where they're usually a pretty good team.
Oh, is that game?
They lose to Freo at home as well, and Freo haven't been.
That was
they
when
weren't
Freo
great
were
travellers.
in the doldrums. Yeah.
Exactly. They still got a lot of injuries. Briggs, Cornelio, my man Brent Daniels, or your man now, Sam Taylor, Callum Ward.
Well, Taylor's a huge loss. I mean, he kept them in it against Port Adelaide.
Yeah, broken toe, so another sort of unusual type injury for Sam Taylor. Toby Green, question mark. I think he'll be back this week.
Yeah.
And Stringer,
he's a bit of a forgotten man, isn't he, Stringer?
Yeah, well, he's been good at times, but is he a difference maker?
He doesn't worry you, though. Suit opposition.
No, well, I mean, their midfield's still undermanned as well.
Yeah. Callaghan made a big difference last week, but Gold Coast just have a strong midfield.
Exactly, and their ruckman, Nick Madden, I think he's playing his third game against Jared Witts. That's a massive advantage for Gold Coast.
He got 6 free kicks in the Canberra game. It was unbelievable.
Madden did?
Yeah, and he gave away 5.
High scoring. What were they
it was
doing
ridiculous. Every time they went to it was like they'd never played in the ruck before. They just kept whacking each other.
I don't have any
Harry
idea
Madden.
about ruck free kicks.
No.
I've got a theory
No one
why. How many ex-rucks are in the media? There's not many.
No.
And how many people generally in the public have played ruck
Ex-rucks aren't smart enough to be in the media, are they?
But they're a small subset. You've got to be certain height. You've got to be tall to play, and they're an outlier in the population. So that's my theory as to why ruck free kicks don't make sense. But anyway, we digress. I'm tipping Gold Coast.
Interesting.
I'm disappointed that you've copied me with that tip.
Yeah, I did. I looked down and thought, oh, well, there's a couple of reasons. I'll take them. Gold Coast win. It's actually evenly spread among the semi-experts on the panel.
That's good, because this really is a 50-50 game. The part that worries me about the tipping Gold Coast is that the Giants have owned them in their history. I mean, apart from the first couple of years, it's 13-1.
Yeah,
13
right.
of the last 14 for the Giants.
Well, there you go. There's another reason why the Gold Coast will win. Because, well, these are the things that when you're emerging, as the Gold Coast Suns are, you tick them off.
Yeah, and it's the first time, really, in that time that Gold Coast have been a good team.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that they win for the sake of my tipping.
Yep, I'm Gold Coast by a couple of goals.
Has Glees tipped Gold Coast?
He always tips Gold Coast. He's the biggest closet Gold Coast fan ever.
No, I'll have to pick off a few others then. Yeah, he's been on the Gold Coast bandwagon for a while.
Yep.
Suns by 8 points for me.
Suns by 2 goals for me. Is that reasonable?
No, that's reasonable.
Yeah, I look forward to texting you as you sit back and watch this game. Very exciting.
I might be
Sunday afternoon in Seddon.
I'll do some cooking in the Woo household.
Yeah, get a few the week's meals done.
Get the kids will be playing Minecraft and I'll be watching.
Shut up! I'm watching the Gold Coast and the Giants, and they'll say, "Who are they?"
The expansion cup. I love it. Final game of the round: Western Bulldogs against Richmond. It's a 3:20 game, so that's the one that's going to go into the news.
I'm going to this game. You beauty.
You're covering it, aren't
you?
So you're being paid to go.
Yeah, correct. And
would you be there otherwise?
Probably unlikely. Bulldogs should win this one by a long way. They're the sort of team at the moment who, if you are vulnerable, they will smash you.
Are they the flat track bullies of the
No,
NFL?
that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying they're a really good team that's got good structures behind and in front of the ball, and if you let them get first use, they use it really well.
Yeah, they're out of the 8 at the moment, aren't they, the Bulldogs? That's hard to believe, isn't it?
Not really. They've less games won than those in the
But given the way they've played, they haven't played like a team that is 9th.
Well, that's true, kind of. They've been obviously injuries, but yeah.
Dare I say they're the best 9th team
since Richmond. Yeah. No, they're dogs.
They'll win. They'll win by plenty. The margin, I'm tipping 47 points.
Yeah, I'm tipping 39. Richmond will show a bit of a yelp because they're coming off the bye and they were tired.
They were dirty. Adam Uzo was very dirty on that performance against the Swans.
Yeah.
They didn't do much after quarter time.
They were pathetic. I watched that third quarter. They didn't move the ball beyond their half at all.
Yeah. And Noah Bolter should be able to play?
He will be in a rush home, but he'll get there.
Pushing that curfew.
He'll be fine.
Dilly-dallying after the game.
I look forward to speaking to him post-game.
Yeah, well, what are you going to write about? Have you thought about it? It's a very tough game to
I think we'll
make interesting.
We'll wait till Sunday morning before I start thinking about that. I'll just be concentrating on whether the Giants have beat the Gold Coast so that I can get an edge on a few people.
Okay, that's all we've got time for today. Thanks for joining us. You can see the rest of the experts' tips at theage.com.au/AFL. Make sure to subscribe, rate and review wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to get in touch with us, send an email to realfootypod@theage.com.au. We'd love to hear from you. The podcast will return on Monday with Michael Gleeson and the experts. Thanks for listening, and may your team win.